It's a teen talk skating podcast where I embarrass myself. Hello, 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 and welcome to that one podcast that makes you question your entire sanity. And yeah, I try to think of something else, but my brain's a little bit, I don't know. I have a massive headache right now. I'm just saying. I don't know what is. I kind of feel sick. Please help me. Oh my God. Am I dying? Oh no, no. But I hope you all are doing well. I should say this stuff, right? Hello, my name is Yan Go, and welcome to a Teen Talk Skating podcast. AKA where all the craziness begins. Anyway, I hope you all, oh my gosh, I hope you all are doing well. This week has been crazy, hectic, and chaotic, and sometimes I just want to throw myself out the window sometimes. That's kind of how it feels, you know? Like, don't you, everyone has that day. Everyone has that day. Didn't I say last week, like everyone has those days when they just want to watch figure skating for 5 hours straight, right? Like, come on, we all can relate. Let's be honest, okay? Um, but anyway, today's episode is a very fun episode because it is kind of the first episode of the season where I'm reviewing a full competition, and that's kind of the whole episode. Because this competition was actually absolutely crazy insane, and I really did want to talk about it. Anyway, is that it? Is that it? I don't know. I hope my throat will survive this because I actually feel like poop right now. Let's not Van Gogh, right. Why do I talk to myself? I don't know. Yeah, it's time for your program of the week. Have fun. Bye. Program of the week. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed the awful theme song for the program of the week. But you know what? Awful theme songs are, they lead to the best shows, don't they? Like we all know that, right? It's kind of like if it's an ugly cover, it's a good book, let's be honest, right? And maybe not with my vocals, but you know what? It's fine. But our program of the week is a more recent program this season, not this season, last season, and that is Miss Livia Kaiser of Switzerland and her free skate at the 2024 World Figure Skating Championships to the music of let me search it up. Guys, I should actually start writing down the music and not like okay, her music was Lucy Gray Part 1 from The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, Lion Theme from Lion, and Run With Your Heart by Dream Cave. So it is a very contemporary program. It's a very modern program, modern esque, I would say. It does borrow a lot of balletic elements in it. But what I love about Olivia Kaiser and her skating style is how simply it's somehow simple and both unique at the same time. And there's a couple instances of this in within the program. The main thing that she does that I just absolutely loved about her program was when she does her jumps, she lands them, she pauses, and then she does a bit of extension. Whereas I think you'll see in a lot of skaters, they will land the jump and immediately do a nice long extension. But it's almost like Livia Kaiser thinks about it. She thinks about like, hey, I just landed a jump. Let's do some extension and draw it out. Um, and it's not a long pause. It's like a half-second pause maybe, but it's enough of a pause that it shows us a beautiful effect of like almost, I don't know, priming yourself, I guess. I don't know how you would say it, but I just enjoy that tiny pause just in between and then beautiful extension because she's a great person with extension. Um and her arms as well. Her arms are constantly moving in this program. There's never a second where the arms kind of go to waste. That they're just sitting there. They're just there by her body, right? Her spins as well. I feel like they're beautiful. They're not maybe the fastest spins, but their positions are very like very practiced. I can tell and very like refined. Like that Beelman was beautiful, you know. There is another moment within the step sequence of the program that like is hard to describe, but she basically does like a twizzle, another twizzle, and then she kind of does almost an illusion spin. Like almost like she looks like she's gonna go into illusion spin. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I really enjoyed that element as well. Kind of that idea of like turning, let go of my leg up into the air and do illusion kick. It's just beautiful. Her dress is simple. It's just a very simple program, but it worked effectively. And I do like how it kind of builds up power towards the end. Um, and yeah, I feel like Olivia Kaiser was one of those up and coming names from last season, and I'm so excited to see where her career will lead her because I love her skating so far, and I hope we see a ton more of her. But yes, the program of the week is Olivia Kaiser from Switzerland, her free skate at the 2022 World Figure Skating Championships. Now it's time for your main episode. I bet you're so excited, aren't ya? Uh, yeah, okay. I'm sorry. Bye. That was creepy. That was your program of the week. Okay, so the episode today is about a competition, and that competition is not even like world, it's not even like a Grand Prix or anything. It is a Challenger Series event, that being the Lombardia Trophy that occurred in Italy this past week. Last week, yes, last week. Um, and I've titled this episode Worlds in September because it really did feel like a World Figures Championship happened this early in the season. There were so many big names here that it was absolutely crazy to see, names like the World Championship, World Champions were here, European medalists were here, Four Continents medalists were here. I'm pretty sure, right? Yes. Um, these were people who we've seen either for a while or just for a short time. These were very big names competing at this Challenger Series competition. And I almost really love that because I love that we're getting this action so early in the season. It really like tingles my emotions and bubbles up my bubbles. That's so weird. Oh my god. Can you not? Can you not? Yeah. But yes, this competition, Lombardia Trophy 2024, was just stacked. It was stacked, stacked more than a deck of cards could ever be. There were so many big names from across the world. It wasn't even just like European skaters because it was in Italy. It wasn't like just like Italian skaters. It was so many skaters from so many countries around the world, and they all decided, hey, let's have a mini world championships at the Lombardia Trophy. So yes, y'all, we are in for an absolute ride for this episode because Lombardia Trophy showed up, said chaos. Like what the heck? They showed up and chose chaos. Like that one meme of like that person who walks into like a fire happening. That's kind of what happened here. Like I thought I walked into a fire. Like oh my gosh, people. I Lombardia Trophy is like my new favorite competition. Okay, let's talk about the Lombardia Trophy, which occurred in lovely Bergamo, Italy. Beautiful, beautiful place. Lots of skaters. I thought the arena was like kind of nice. It wasn't like crowded, but it just seemed kind of nice and pleasant. As always, we will start with the order of which of the standard order, I guess, which is men's, women's, pairs, and then ice dance. So the men's event was actually not chaotic, and maybe that is the most chaotic thing about the men's event, was that usually men's events are very, very chaotic, and they just people love to like, oh my gosh, what happened to you? I thought you were first place at the short. How are you 11th now? You know? Um but it was a relatively, and I mean like relatively, not all the way, it was a relatively not chaotic event. The men did not choose to men, and I am actually somewhat impressed. I don't know if I should be impressed, but I am kind of impressed. But let's talk about the major men who were competing at this competition. First up, we have Alexander Selevko of Estonia, who last season we saw him at Europeans. He won the silver there, which was absolutely amazing for him. He was 11th at Worlds. It was such a good season for him last season. At Lombardia Trophy, I do think that it was a bit of a struggle for him in both programs. He did place eighth overall. Not the best showing that he was hoping for. I definitely think he could have medaled here. He could have gotten close to medaling here, maybe, at least. But he did struggle, but he did end up with a 209.05. In terms of his mistakes, he fell on the quad sal and the triple S triple toe on the short. He had an error on a triple axle and then a fall on the triple axle on the free. I am hoping that this is early season jitters. It is September. I don't expect, I guess, like the best programs from every skater. September early season is a little hard. Most skaters tend to be later season skaters, in my opinion. So yes, Alexander Selevko, I don't think this means his career is over, you know. I just do think that he could definitely learn from this experience, and I hope he does better at his next competition, considering what he's been able to show from the past. Nika Igadze is an up and coming name from Georgia. He was fourth at both his Grand Prix last year. He did have a good showing here with fifth overall at the Lombardia Trophy. There were some slight errors on some jumps in the short. There was a lot of negative GOE in the fall, and he did in the free skate, and then he did fall in his choreo sequence. But aside from those errors, I do am interested. I am interested in Nika Igadze considering again his past results at those Grand Prix. Where's his career going? Where are we gonna take him? Etc. Because it is so interesting to see, especially since he is one of the younger skaters, I believe, like competing around. So it is interesting to see like the future generation kind of rising up at these competitions, and I definitely think Nika Gadze is going to be one of those skaters who is currently rising up. Now we have a trio of Japanese men, and if you know anything about the Japanese men's field right now, it is absolutely crazy stacked. I've said this a million times before, like genuinely, um, like Japanese men and Japanese women too are so stacked. Everyone is super similar in terms of like technical content. Everyone is competing for the same titles, the same spots at Worlds, the same Grand Prix. Everyone's competing. And so Japanese men tend to be very, very chaotic, I would say. And so it is the pressure is definitely on for each individual man to like show what he can do because it is so important to be able to show that you can have better results than the other Japanese men, especially as it is in every like very competitive discipline within a country. You want to show that you're the best in that country for that discipline to be able to go to worlds, to get good spots at Grand Prix, etc. And so having a trio of very, very highly competitive, very, very well skilled Japanese men here at the Lombardia Trophy kind of showed me a lot about what this season is going to look like for them. And we've only seen three of them. So the first Japanese man we saw here was Kalmira, who did not have the best competition here. He did pop a quad toe, triple toe into a double toe, triple toe with an under rotation in the short. There were some pops in the free. Um, and with all the Japanese men, as I mentioned earlier, he really wants to break through the Japanese men and prove he is one of the top players, which I definitely feel that he is. Um, in July, he actually did a very early competition in Japan, a domestic competition at the Prince Ice Cup, where he had a way better scoring situation. I believe he was in the 270s there, whereas here at the Lombardia Trophy, he placed with 234. And so, it isn't the best. He is even currently third in the world right now. So, the scores, they just didn't oh no, he actually got like 290 points at Prince Ice. Okay. Interesting. So Considering he is third in the world and he's had so many successes in the past, he qualified for the Grand Prix final last year. He went to Worlds. He's won junior competitions and four continents. Maybe a bit of a disappointment for Calmiera, but I do think that he is still very, very skilled, and I think he will continue to shine in this field. Another Japanese man who got a personal best of 285.88 is Shun Sato. So, really good scores for him here. Again, differentiating yourself from the rest of the field. 285.88 is not a score that a score is not a score that everyone can achieve, everyone can obtain. And so when you prove that you are one of the best, not only in Japan but also in the world, I definitely think that really helps you. And Shun Sato did his job here, I felt like. He did place third, and I know that sounds crazy. Third with 285.88 at a Challenger Series event might sound really crazy, but this event was so stacked. The only big mistake was popping a triple flip, or it might have been wanted to be a quad flip into a double flip with an edge call in the free. But so many accolades that he's bringing that there's almost something new within him that I've noticed Shun Sato has. There's almost something new about his skating. And he's so competitive right now with the quads that he is able to complete. He did a quad left here, a quad toe. I believe in the past he's done a quad cow. Um, and those are really your moneymaker jumps, right? Those quads are so important these days in figure skating. It's going to make him the cash. It's going to make him the bank. It's going to give him tons and tons and tons of success that he really, really wants to obtain. So third for Shinsato here. Second place with our world silver medalist, Yuma Kagiyama. Now, we did see last season that Yuma Kagiyama, he had his comeback season from injury. And he did really, really well last season, really building himself towards the top again as he had missed the season prior due to injury, most of it. Um, Slight error on his quad style on the short. He did make some errors on the quad toe and the triple axel on the free for a score of 291.54. Again, 291.54 is really good for this early in the season. September, if you're getting the 290s, that's super good. And it shows that you are a competitive force, at least this early in the season. In terms of his programs, I did watch his short program to the Sound of Silence. It starts good without the vocals, but I personally felt like once the vocals came in, the program began to feel a little less appealing to me. Not that the voice is bad or anything, it's a great voice, but it just doesn't work for me artistically. But Yuma Kageyama has done tons of work artistically, and he's done tons of work in terms of kind of how he presents himself on the ice. I know he's worked with Carolina Costner, which seemingly has been very, very influential on his skating, which is really, really good for him. So, hello, it is 5 minutes later, Van Gogh, because the internet went out, people. Ugh. But as I was saying, Yuma Kageyama is a really skilled skater. He's begun to develop so much. He's really began to be a serious senior, and I mean like very, very seriously. He is very much a senior skater now. I feel like before maybe his skating style had a bit more junior-ish quality to it, which is not bad, of course, because he is such a young skater. But now he's really developed into this very mature skater. That is so good. Anyway, Yuma Kageyama's second place. So who else could be in first place except none other than Mr. Ilya Malinin, our 2024 world champion. Um, the quad god as we call him. It was such a major competition in the men's competition. You had Yuma Kageyama, you had Ilya Malinin, you had Shun Sato, you had Kalmira, right? So it was really crazy to see. So with Ilya Malinin, he had a amazing short. He scored a personal best in the short even. He scored a personal best on the short with 107.25, with a layout that I haven't seen since Nathan Chen, I believe. A quad flip, triple axel, and then a quadless triple toe is absolutely crazy layout to even attempt to do, but he did it. It almost feels like he could do a quadlets quad toe combination, but that would be actually insane, and I would go insane if he did a quad combination. But it just looks like he could. It just looks like it's so easy for him that it's just not even real. Um, he has improved artistically as well, and that's because, in my opinion, and I've seen this a lot, he's done music that I think he like actually connects to, and you can tell he connects to it because he enjoys what he is skating to. So, he has a really nice short program. It has such a contemporary feel to it. It feels totally connected to the music. Um, is a song called Running by the rapper NF. I have never heard of it before, but he seems to be a fan, right? There is a rap section within the song at the very end. It has a cool step sequence that it connects to, you know. He has those arm movements going on. He has a step sequence going on. He has so much going on that just it doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like, you know, this is just another repetition of his practice. You feel like he actually connects to the music, and that's so important for him, and that's the direction I really wanted to see Ilya Malinin grow into, was that artistic side. He did a cool mini Ina Bauer, and there was this cool spiral kind of moment with his like hand against the ground, and then an ending pose where he's kind of like hand on the ground, up, kind of. I don't know how to explain. The only mistake he did in the free was a quarter and stumble on the quad lutz. And I did want to note that, you know, we know Ilya Munian because he's the first person to land the quad axel in combination, but there was no quadruple axel attempt here. Um, I'm not really sure why. Um, I'm not really sure why, yeah. But my guess would be that maybe he is not trying to focus too much on the quad axle right now and is again trying to grow into that artistic side. And then once you can combine both of them, I definitely see him getting another world record, you know what I mean? Because it is artistically he's developing. He's not perfect, but he is developing. His skating skills are becoming better in my opinion. At least they look better on, you know, how he turns and moves within the ice. He doesn't maybe treat it like it's easy, but he treats it like with respect almost. I can't explain. So maybe yes, maybe the quad axle is kind of like no bueno right now, and the artistic side is what he's focusing on. The free skate is so confusing, but I've written it down. It's like pop rock, opera, vampire, rock and roll, mayhem, end of the world set in the 1500s. That's the best way I can explain it. This is such like a teen thing to skate to, I guess. I don't know. It just has that vibe of like I'm a teenager and I like to sit in my bedroom and play electric guitar. Because it has that vibe. I think he is trying to play the role of a vampire in the world, and everything's gone very chaotic. He has all the jumps. They are crazy. He does a backflip. He does his signature raspberry twist, and at the end he like falls down onto the ice. And you know, it's definitely abstract. It's new, but it is artistic development, as I've said. Yeah. Now for the event that I am so, oh my gosh, what happened? And that is the women's event. It just blew my mind what happened here, and I will explain why, because I cannot. I'm smiling right now just thinking about it, because oh my god, like I'm so happy. But anyway, skiers I want to talk about Rinko Watanabe. Rinko Watanabe is known. I feel like she is really known as a technician within figure skating, from Japan. So again, very competitive competition in Japan. Here she did have like a few mistakes, and it really did hurt her overall score. She ended up with a 164.04 when her personal best, I believe, is in the 200s if my thing will load. Yes, she's been at 213.14 before. So this is kind of a low score for her, I would say. She made three triple axel attempts here, one in the short and two in the free. All of them did have mistakes, unfortunately. But we've known her as someone who can land the triple axel, and I think it's good that she's attempting it. Perhaps right now it just isn't meant to be with the triple axel. Maybe over the summer it just maybe over the summer, I feel like the skaters tend to sometimes lose their jumps, and maybe she is progressing to get that triple axel more consistent and stable. But it is good that she's attempting it, I think. There were some other under rotations and edge calls kind of sprinkled in there. Technically, I think Rinka Watanabe could be so good if she was clean. I really, really hope that is early season mistakes since she is such a skater with so many accolades. She was bronze at four continents last year. She was silver at Cup of China. She's had so many different little accolades within her career that I hope the triple axel attempts do become successful and she is able to become a more successful skater. From Estonia, we had Nina Petroikina, who was a bit of a dark horse last season, right? We saw her third at Ski America, which is absolutely crazy for her. We saw her fourth, I believe, at Cup of China. So Nina Petroikina is like definitely Estonia's biggest women's skater right now. Um, Here she did have some struggles, some popping, some under rotations. I hope she can really continue that momentum from last season. Last season, at least the first half of last season, because the second half of last season, she was unfortunately injured. I'm not sure if perhaps she is still dealing with the whole recovery process. I hope she isn't like stressing out her injury too much because it is very, very, obviously very important as we've learned that skiers take care of their injuries. But, I don't think it's a bad showing per se. I think it just shows that she's on that road to recovery with with a score, sorry, of 164.98 here. Moving on to fourth place, we had Miss Anastasia Gubanova, who she's been European champion 2 seasons ago. Last season, she was European silver medalist. And she has quite the accolades as well. And it was a good season debut for her here at the Lombardia Trophy. I do see this a bit often on YouTube, especially. People like to say that they do undermark her in components just a little bit, the artistic kind of side. I honestly do find myself agreeing with that. I do think she could be marked like a little higher, especially in maybe just a bit higher in composition or no, maybe presentation, because I do feel like this season Anastasia Gubanova is not playing with her programs. She is very committed to those programs. Her short program is set to the song "Money, Money, Money," and it is like, ooh, it's kind of like a touch of Luna Hendricks and a touch of Gubanova together. It is fun, and there's this moment where she kind of looks at the camera really funny, and she stands on the boards, and it is very much a fun program for her. Last season I really enjoyed her Mojo short program as well. And I feel like Anastasia Gumanova always has good short programs. I feel like she is pretty good at short programs. Her free program is set to the music of Christian Reindl. It is a completely how do you say this? Instrumental program is what I'm trying to say. It is music that is instrumental, that is a little bit contemporary. It's powerful. It is powerful music. Has a lot of strong notes, especially towards that second half of the program, some lyrical elements into it. And I do feel like this feels like a return of Olympic season Gubanova, where we first really saw Anastasia Gubanova shine was at the Olympics when she had those two amazing programs. And, after that, her programs were, I would say, like fine. They weren't the best. But now they do feel like that Olympic season Gubanova vibe is coming back to her skating. That lyricalness, that, good passion within it, that's different and that's, very powerful within her, and that really does show on the ice. Um, Another interesting thing, her spins, her hand positions this season are very unique. I've never seen these hand positions in spins. Obviously, it is a very minor detail, but it is something I like to point out. I don't know what it was about those hand positions in the spins, but they were different and they were interesting and nice. And her only mistake was a pop triple loop into a double loop, and she ended with a score of 195.74, which is really good for this early in the season. In third place, perhaps it is kind of a shock considering this is our world champion, is Kaori Sakamoto of Japan, who is now blonde. We love. Yes, Kaori Sakamoto is now blonde. Kaori Sakamoto. She's like bleached her hair, really cool. Really fun for her. This was a honestly a bit of a struggle for Kaori Sakamoto. I did not think that this really would happen. I did think that she was gonna win the competition, considering the field here wasn't the super super strongest, I would say maybe, but she did end up in third place here. So and I always think of Kaori Sakamoto as a later season skater. We've seen her win Worlds 3 times. I feel like she is later season. So September is a bit early to kind of really say like, oh, she's out of the competition. You know what I mean? In the short, she had some mistakes. In the free, she fell on the triple loop. Her short program this season is a bit of a tango almost, a bit of a I don't really know how to explain. I believe it's kind of like a tango, kind of a flamenco kind of vibe to it. I think it works really well for her. Um, it kind of has a bit of that tango vibe, I would say, but without it completely being a tango. And I really enjoyed it. I found myself really enjoying it. I think it's a bit of a different direction for Kaori that we haven't seen before from her. And so I really liked it. The free skate, however, is I don't know how to feel about it. It is set to Chicago. Um, and I do love Chicago programs. It's great. I loved Orihara and Purinen's free dance last year from Finland, but I don't know what it was about this program for me from Kairi Sakamoto. Usually I do kind of enjoy her free skates. This one was not my cup of tea so far. And I said that a lot. I said that about her No More Fight Left in Me program from the Olympic season, and then I ended up loving it. So perhaps it will come to grow on me, but I just feel like it doesn't have a good, real, cohesive element to it right now. It doesn't really feel like Chicago is the route to go for Kaori Sakamoto. Not to say that, she can't pull it off. I'm sure she can, but it wasn't too appealing to me currently. But I do love her. She is a great skater. Just I didn't really enjoy the program in general. Um, but she's amazing. And I don't think this is a sign at all of Carrie not doing well this season. I think it's just early in the season. But yes, I do love her. Please don't hate me. I just didn't enjoy the programs as much as I've done with other Carrie Sakamoto programs. Okay, so our second place is a skater who has shown herself she's proven herself to be good over and over and over again now, and that is Miss Sarah Everhart of the USA. She was our champion she was our champion from Challenger Series Cranberry Cup last month in August. Here to show that again, that was not a fluke competition. Hey, like she really, 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 really um, is showing that she is consistent and she is going to remain consistent. I don't see like at all any sign of her like not being consistent. She is very stable in her jumps, very, very good technique. Um, there were a few minor mistakes, an edge call in her triple flip and a quarter on the triple loop in the free, but so clean otherwise. And because she is so clean, she gets really good GOE. I have to point out her triplets reminds me of very classical triplets, kind of a 90s triplet, I guess, that the skaters kind of used to do back then. So impressive to watch, though. I really enjoy her skating those jumps. She has it in her. Those jumps are just part of her now. Artistically, I do find that Sarah Everhart is not the most developed skater artistically. I do think that she can still grow as a skater, artistic wise, because her programs this season are River Dance, yeah, and the Firebird, and I just don't, so far at least, I don't um find myself remembering any really like beautiful moments or anything. But technically, Sarah Everhart is the way to go for the USA right now. Currently, she is the way to go because technically she is so strong. And yes, I do think that she will develop even more. And our first place, I cannot believe this. I don't know who answered my prayers. But it is Miss Amber Glenn. Amber who? Amber who? Amber who? Amber Glenn. Amber Glenn got first place, people. I literally wanted to die so much when I saw the results. I was like, oh my god, my life is complete. Literally thought this day was like the best day of my life. I could not believe Amber Glenn had won first place. I woke up early in the morning. I believe it was a Thursday, last Thursday, and I woke up to find out that she was first in the short program with a score of 75.71, which is a huge personal best for her. Um, and I found out that she landed a triple axel in the short. So what she's done is that she's added a triple axel into the short instead of just doing a double axel, and she is still doing her triple flip, triple toe, and her triple loop in the short program. I literally thought I was going to have a heart attack eating my dang oatmeal that morning because I was so like, oh my god, Amber, 75.71 is huge for Amber Glenn. And then we had the free skate, and I was really worried about the free skate. Last season, Amber Glenn had a couple of good short programs like this one without the triple axel, but once she came to the free skate, she really did not do as well as she hoped. She did do some popping, and that was a common occurrence through the free skates of last season. But it all proved me wrong, guys. She did so amazing that I can't stop but smile when I talk about it because oh my god, Amber, oh my god. So she landed another triple axel in the free, and it just looks like it's becoming one of her standard jump. It doesn't look like it's an ultra C element at this point. It just looks like she's doing it, and she's doing it so perfectly. There were some, issues in the free. She popped a triple sal into a double. There was a quarter on the triple loop. There was an edge call and a stumble on the triple flip, but it was still so good. And she didn't give up within the program. She didn't start popping all her jumps. She did so good. And she got a final score of 212.89 when her previous personal best was nowhere near that. I think that's more than 10 points above her personal best. If I remember correctly. Yeah, her last personal best was a 201.02, and she just got 11 points higher than that. And I cannot, like, this did not feel real. This is everything to me right now. It just shows the world how you should not underestimate Amber Glenn. Now I am hoping that she can keep this momentum for the rest of the season because it is the Amber domination season. This is the season of Amber dominating, and trust me on that. This is it. This is it, people. Last season, forget about it, right? It happened. She struggled, but she's come back with this new confidence, okay? And I just love it. Her short program was a Janet Jackson themed short program. It was very cool, I would say. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting maybe from a Janet Jackson short program, but it was different. It was cool, and I like Amber Glenn exploring that kind of style. And I hope it will grow on me more. Her free skate was again like instrumental lyrical music that was a very sad tone to it, which she's done a lot of before, and I'm not saying that she should stop doing it because I think it is quite her strength to portray those very emotional, very openly, very emotional, open, aware programs, self aware programs that she is so good at portraying. Um, and I really enjoyed it. There was a bit of a spiral moment that I love. There was a bit of a, like I think there was a spread eagle moment in there. I've only watched it once, but I really do think I will grow to enjoy it. And I'm just so proud of Amber Glenn. Like she's my hero. She's my hero right now because oh my god, like my heart warmed. And this is the first competition of the season, so if she can keep this going, I do not know what will happen next. I think very, very good things will happen. Very, very good things. I'm hoping. Okay, pairs. Oh my god. Okay, pairs was scary. This competition was scary for pairs. Five out of the top six teams and world standings appeared here in the pairs event. First up, we had Hawk and Kunkel of Germany, who were seventh at Europeans, fifth at Worlds. They were third at Europeans the season before. They did have some struggle with injury last season, and they did fall in the triple Salchow here. They're side by side, and they did have some slight errors in the free skate for a fifth place finish of 176.18. Um, and I definitely see them as a big competition with the other German team of Minerva Fabian Hasse and Nikita Volonen. Um, and I definitely think they are good skaters. I think they've been around longer than them, definitely. So Hawk and Kunkel definitely have the ability within them to become the top German pair team. It is kind of a fierce competition right now. And then we have the Italian team of Giardi and Ambrosini. I did discuss last week how at the John Nix Paris Challenge, they did have kind of a rough showing and were not anywhere near where they wanted to be, but they did much better here with a fourth place overall at a score of 192.47. I do feel like the Yari and Ambrosini have been around for a while and are really waiting for that big uprise that we know that they can definitely achieve. Um, you know, they've medaled at Europeans before. They've really shown themselves to be quite reliable. They did not go to Worlds last season because the Italian pairs team is so competitive. But again, like a lot of other skaters in within competitive disciplines in their country, they want to show that they are the best. And I think this is a step in the good direction for Giardi and Ebersini considering the improvement from John Nick's Paris Challenge, and I'm hoping they will get better as the season goes on. Um, because it is very interesting how this whole Italian Paris thing is playing out, and I'm scared sometimes. I'm scared. Yes, yes. But anyway, next, we have the the Hungarian team of Pavlova Sviatchenko. And we know them because they are the best technicians in pairs. Pavlova and Sviatchenko have really proven themselves to be quite good at all the technical elements. Um, like uh, gosh, what am I saying? The technical elements of jumps and throws and spins and whatnot. And so I really do think that it is quite impressive what they've been able to do. I know they have not been, what is it? They have not been, oh my gosh, they have not been around for a while as a pair team, but technically they're still good. Artistically, could use a bit more work, but with their technical scores, they won the free skate overall, with only one mistake on a quarter on their double axle side by sides. And so that's really, really good for Pavlo Siachenko. They've shown that, when other teams falter technically, even though they may be artistically better, Pavlo and Siachenko can really sweep in and take the crown because they are technically good. Next, we have the Japanese team of Miura and Kihara. And we remember because they did struggle with some injuries last season, but it really does look like they are overcoming them. They've gotten a lot better. They've overcome them really, really well. Um, and remember, they did get a silver at Worlds, which is really good too. And so really good for them. They did have some issues here on their side by side jumps. I believe there was a fall on their rotational lift, is what I'm reading in the protocol. If I am reading it correctly. Um, there was some issue with their rotational left that did cause a fall. Their free skate is the same music as Jason Brown's short program last year, which is interesting to see. And it's called Adios, and I hope that doesn't mean they're gonna retire because, I mean, Jason skated to it and he didn't retire yet, thank God. Yes. Anyway, let's see. What else? Gosh. Okay. And then the winning team was the team of Conti and Machi from Italy. Again, Italian pair is super competitive. They won the short program cleanly. They did have some errors in the free skate with some side by side jumps, but they did get second there and then first overall with 203.02, which is such a good score for this early. It is they do have an interesting kind of career trajectory so far. 2 seasons ago, they got third at Worlds. Last season, they did quite kind of struggle and placed sixth there, but they are currently second in the world and world standings, which I know is not considered like the best way to rate skaters, but you know, considering that last season was a bit of a struggle, they placed sixth at European, sixth at Worlds, despite being second at Grand Prix final. So yeah, definitely going to be interesting how this season plays out for them. Okay, now we have Ice Dance, which I'm hoping is a very calm way to end this episode. Ice Dance is, it don't change much, right? Ice Dance is that nice calming thing that we all love to watch. In third place was the team of Nesset and Markelov of the USA. If you remember from last season, I discussed how they were really coming up from the junior ranks, and now we're on the senior scene, and how that transition can be a bit difficult for some ice dance teams in particular. But their rhythm dance was a little Waterloo, Waterloo, only me. Okay, I'm not gonna sing. It made my little Eurovision heart happy on the inside, and also Dancing Queen by ABBA. I do like this. I did like this rhythm dance. I didn't think maybe I was gonna like it, but it was very fun. Very interesting. Skating wise, they are a younger team. They are very, very young. So they aren't just quite as refined yet as some of the older, more experienced teams. But I know they're really gonna develop. And if we're talking about like a next big thing for US Ice Dance, I do feel like they are kind of seen as the next in line after maybe the next Olympics and maybe even the Olympics after that, as these do seem to have a long career ahead of them. So it will be interesting how they develop. Their free dance is quite suspenseful, but it's different. It's unique, and I like that because they aren't just coming up on the senior stage and doing something very basic and very normal to do. They are popping out and showing that they do have an interesting kind of concept with their free dance. Then we have the team of Morozov and Chen. So Annabelle Morozov and Jeffrey Chen, who Jeffrey Chen is Karen Chen's brother, and Karen Chen just recently got engaged. And I'm like, oh, I miss Karen Chen so much. She was so cool. But back to Ice Dance, back to Annabelle Morozov and Jeffrey Chen. I love the energy of their James Brown rhythm dance. I thought that it fit them so well, the vibe they were going, especially Jeffrey Chen. I feel like his artistic side really came out in this program, especially at the end with the kind of chaotic rotational list. It was really cool. But they got it done, and they got it done well, I would say, in this James Brown rhythm dance. Especially at the end, I thought that there was a lot of music going on, there's a lot of action going on, but they did it really well. They sold it for me. Their free dance to Star Wars was not my favorite. It just didn't pop out as much, I would say. But it's okay because I think they're also going to be developing again one of the younger teams. And ice dance in the U.S. is historically a tough field to be in. It is I would say, the USA's toughest field to be in. So I'm interested how they will place at nationals. I'm assuming I think they have to go to senior nationals. I'm interested in how they will place at senior nationals. Again, along with Nessa and Markelov, as I do feel like senior nationals for ice dances can get quite intense to see who is where, who is seen as more favored, who is seen as just objectively better sometimes. Very interesting. My nose. Oh, okay. Last skaters that I'm going to talk about is the ice dance team of Italy, Guignard, Charlene Guignard, and Marco Fabri. Sorry. Um, who are my favorite ice dance team right now, along with Turkila Vishlius and Orihara Pianin and all of them. But they are here for their seventh Lombardia Trophy title, which is actually crazy. They've gone to this event 7 times and they won it 7 times. I will say, I think Charlene Guignard and Marco Fabri have always been strong rhythm dance skaters. I think their rhythm dancing season is so much fun. I believe the music is called Land of a Thousand Stances song, something like that. But it is so fun this season with the outfits that they have going on, with the older vibe that they have going on. They just feel like they perfectly fit in that time period almost. I could see them as kind of that, oh, like that really cute couple that's just walking down the street in their fun outfits. I don't know. Their free dance, I think, is a bit of a departure from what we know about Guignard and Fabry. I do think that they're known for very, classical, piano, beautiful, lyrical programs. And this season they decided to do robot. Exactly, robot. And I'm not kidding. They are robot. And like they've committed to robot. Their outfits are literal silver. Like they are not kidding with the whole robot thing. They are literally robots. And it's so intriguing to me that they've gone this direction. That I don't know how to feel, but it does. I will say it isn't like a complete departure. They haven't transformed or anything. They've taken a new idea, a new concept, and I think really well they've combined it with their old style. There is still this classical Guignard and Fabry that we all know and love within the program, alongside that robot element that they do sell pretty well. It is contemporary robot, if that makes sense. The spin positions are cool. Where they really shine is the character step sequence. That's where they really sell it to you. At there are robots and they are living in a robot world. I'm kidding. I'm a robot. I'm kidding. But it does really sell it to you that they are robots in a sense in that character subsequence, and I do think that they've really stepped out of their comfort zone this season. And yes, that was the Lombardia Trophy Challenger Series 2024 this year. And it's only increased my excitement even more for the season. There are so many highlights. Ilya Malinin and Yuma Kayama having an early show off. Amber Glenn, Kari Sakamoto, Sarah Everhard, the Pierce teams, Guillaume and Fabry having this crazy transformation. I loved the programs of Amber Glenn and Gubanova, and I really enjoyed Ilya Malinin's programs this year, and the rhythm dance from Morozov and Chen. There were a lot of highlights in here. Obviously, it is very early in the season, so some skaters might have a lower score than later season. But it is only September, and I am literally freaking out. Like I've said this every episode since the end of last season is that I'm freaking out, and it's not good for my health probably, and that's probably why I'm sick right now. I'm sick from stressing over figure skating. Oh my god. I'm just I love it. 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 I love, love, love figure skating. I love this event, Lombardia Trophy. Next week we will be talking about the Nebelhorn Trophy, another trophy challenger series event. But yes, that is all for this episode of 18 Talks Game Podcast. I love Amber Glenn. She's the best. Shout out to Amber Glenn. Like genuinely, like thank the Lord. We did it. We did it, Amber. I love her so much. But thank you for listening to this episode of a Teen Talks Game Podcast. My name is Van Gogh. I hope you have a amazing day. Tune in for next week's episode, and bye bye.